As a woman of science, and a woman professionally adept in the field of fertility, the phenomenon of conception is pretty straightforward when listed in chronological bullet point order. However, the line between science and morality has danced around one another for as long as the two were conscious in the minds of scientists. The constant argument of, just because we can, doesn't mean we should. Designer babies is a topic I get asked about a lot given my field. No, I personally do not create designer babies for the elite breeders. The most we go is to test for any abnormalities to better one's chance of implantation. And sex.
Sex? Yes, please.
If a patient has a preference, they have the choice through IVF. However, we don't necessarily have a test for psychopaths. We can test to see if your cellular embryo has any kind of chromosomal abnormalities, if there's a single gene that runs in your blood and you'd like to see if you'd pass that onto your child. You guessed it, there's a test. But to know if you will birth a murderer, no, that sort of thing does not exist. Yet. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Neverland Book Club. Ah, you're still here. I didn't scare you off. Good, I'm glad. I didn't mean to frighten all you millennial age viewers into going off and tying your tubes just yet. Whoa, that's the sound of my tubes tying. Though I am thinking about it now, after reading the topic of discussion for today. The Push by Ashley Audrain. I heard of this specific title through my mom. Yes, I see the ironicness. We share titles on Kindle and Audible, and she asked me to look up this title on Audible for her to listen to. When I asked what it was about, she turned to me and said, "Oh, no. This one might be too difficult for you to read, little Nado Dado. Let me read it first and see if it's okay. Then you can read it." And I was both insulted and flattered. "Oh, Mommy, you care about me." But also, Mama, I can handle anything. You've seen the other books I've read. This can't be that traumatizing. And so, after reading it herself, she said, "All right, go ahead, but take it easy." And I didn't listen. I read it in a day and a half, listening straight through the day and night. I was hooked in a way that felt hypnotizing. The narrator's voice wasn't particularly interesting in any way, but soothing in an eerie manner that kept me on my my toes. Straight from the beginning, the entire message of the book is laid out for the reader through a passage from When the Drummers Were Women by Lane Redmond, describing the ancestral connection between women and their mothers and grandmothers. Again, as a woman who studies and works in the journey of fertility, I found this passage particularly memorable. It begins first by describing the generational relationship within the blood of women. The first thing we hear in the womb is the vibration of blood running through our mother's veins and arteries before we even have ears. The quote goes on with, "Before we were conceived, we existed in part as an egg in our mother's ovary. All the eggs a woman will ever carry form in her ovaries while she is a 4-month-old fetus in the womb of her mother. This means our cellular life as an egg begins in the womb of our grandmother. Each of us spent 5 months in our grandmother's womb, and she, in turn, formed within the womb of her grandmother. We vibrate to the rhythm of our mother's blood before she herself is born." How transcendent to be a woman. This opening passage may give one the notion that the book they are about to read is filled with the connections and love mothers and daughters share through generations of unmatched intimacy. Wrong! This book is every woman's worst fear of birthing a child unknown to her, a daughter so unlike herself, so wickedly innocent and charming, that she begins to question her own sanity. Now, with you dear viewers fairly warned, let's begin at the beginning. Told from the perspective of daughters, generations of daughters raised by women who did not love them in the traditional sense. The first mother is our narrator's grandmother. She describes the upbringing of her own mother, then her own upbringing, and her experience as a mother to her own daughter. The 3 timelines parallel one another in certain anecdotal accounts that help move the story along. Parallels that, at times, seem all too convenient due to their wild accuracies. Our main character does not want to be a bad mother, but she cannot feel love for her daughter, try as she might. She sees other mothers in love with their children, her own husband in love with her daughter, and she cannot understand why she doesn't feel the same. The child, Violet, even as an infant, can feel this distance and knows that she is unloved by her mother. Try as they may, the two just cannot come to terms with the idea that they are related in a way so pure as mother and daughter. They feel like strangers to one another, even in the infancy of their relationship. She finds herself purposefully neglecting Violet when she cries, lets her wail herself tired during the day, doesn't clean off her pacifier when it falls on the floor and returns it to her wanting mouth. When the mother longs for that love, she decides to have another child. Reluctant, the father agrees. They have a son. The mother loves her son instantly. She immediately feels what she was lacking with Violet. She loves the boy so much, the family of 4 starts to feel more like a family, finally. But children are very perceptive to things like tone, attitude, and atmosphere. Violet knows her mother's love is conditional to her alone. And although she is not necessarily in competition for her mother's love, since she doesn't seem to want it in the first place, one day she says out loud, "I don't want him anymore." Just like that. And the next day, spoiler, she no longer has a baby brother. The book explores the psychological journey a woman endures postpartum, an experience that has been hidden in shadows, not discussed enough. Since so many women have similar and difficult accounts, the range of physical and mental changes that happens to a woman's body during and after pregnancy is enough to make any man walk out of the room confused. Which is why so often an exhausted breastfeeding mother up at 3 a.m. crying silently in bed next to her sound asleep husband is brushed off as hormonal, when in actuality, she may be experiencing postpartum depression. According to the CDC website, 1 in 8 women experience postpartum depression. This number may vary due to age, ethnicity, race, and state. In some states, it can be as common as 1 in 5 women, and yet it is not nearly talked about enough in the mainstream. The term postpartum depression is mentioned in the novel, but is still not explored in the sense that I was looking for. At first, Audrain paints our main character's life as that of picture perfect, awaiting a child to make it all the more shiny. The sudden realization that pregnancy and motherhood is not the fantasy it's advertised to be is what makes the reader believe that what the narrator is experiencing is in fact just postpartum depression. However, as time goes on and Violet grows, we see the skepticism in the narrator's mind not as proof of lingering baby blues, but the anxious and cautious state of a woman fearing for her life. The book turns from domestic bliss to psychological thriller with a spooky child really quick. Nevertheless, as her daughter grows into a teenager, she tries to give her the benefit of the doubt. But you can't silence your own intuition, your own instinct. There's a reason it's there. Before rational thought, we have instinct. Reflexes that tell us what to do in drastic situations. Remove your hand from a hot pot handle. Shield your eyes against the sun. Even here, the child was the cause of so much pain from the very beginning. It's terrifying. Terrifying. The title itself has a number of meanings, all in reference to a woman's struggle. The push. The initial push of motherhood, pushing life into the world through her own body, then pushing her child into the world over time through life, school, relationships, learning how to be a human. Oh, and, spoiler, it could also refer to Violet pushing her brother to death. Just pushing him to death. To his death. She pushed him to death! Now kick the baby. So here comes the question, who is this book for? Well, not everyone actually. The structure, language, narration, and tone are all executed in a way that mimics the rhythm of an A24 film, captivating and continuously grasping. I would recommend it to those that enjoy a bit of thrill with a hint of misery. Although it may be triggering for mothers who have first-hand experience with dealing with postpartum depression, it could also be a light shining on an otherwise dark subject, so read at your own discretion. I believe men should definitely read this book as well. The description of a woman's mind is so commonly written by the hands of a man, it is vital to hear it from a woman's perspective. This, pregnancy, childbirth, motherhood, cannot be written by anyone else but a woman who has experienced those things. So, yes, go, read. Now, I love my mother very much. I have had the privilege early on in my life to have many mother figures, a grandmother, an aunt, even my older sister who has taught me many life lessons I will not soon forget. But I have never met anyone quite like my own mama. And the one thing that brings me some of the most joy in this world is seeing her laugh. So let's give her a call and see if we can do just that. I really hope she answers. Please answer, mommy. Hello. أهلين وسهلين. Mommy.
Are you recording me?
I'm trying to make you laugh. I'm currently making my video of the push. How many stars do you give it out of 5?
4.
4. What's missing?
I don't know. I liked it, but it wasn't anything that I'd want to read again.
What is something that you would want to read again?
Stephen King stuff, always want to read twice.
My mommy. The Secret Life of Bees.
Yeah, that was nice.
You like that one. What about Water for Elephants? I know
But
you,
I like that.
you like that one.
You know what was nice about that? Was the old band who was narrating.
Yes, I remember. I listened to it with you in the car.
Yeah, and the one about the little girl that gets lost in the forest.
The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
Gordon, yeah.
That was my first Stephen King book that you gave to me.
That's a good book.
That's good book. Bye, mommy. Love you, mommy. All right. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video if you liked it and subscribe for more. Comment down below if you've read The Push by Ashley Audrain or if you'd like to share any of your experiences similar to those in the story. Only if you'd like, of course. Also, if you have any fertility questions, I'd love to answer them as well down below. Today's shout out goes to Kim Hayes. We should have more subscribers here on the Neverland Book Club. I agree with you, and thank you for spreading the word of our little channel. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed. The rapid growth and acceptance we've experienced here is nothing I could have imagined, so thank you. All right, I'm off to go get a vasectomy now. Ow, my hip cracked. They are not childbearing. Stay lost, keep reading, call your mother, and tell her you love her. Goodbye!